Chào mừng tất cả quý anh chị nhà đầu tư đã đến với một video vô cùng đặc biệt, đó là buổi chia sẻ chuyên sâu giữa đội ngũ pháp lý của công ty Untitled và ngài Mr. Kai Boy là phó chủ tịch của trung tâm vùng CMB, là một trong những trung tâm vùng uy tín nhất với hơn 25 năm kinh nghiệm, cũng như là cái tỷ lệ hồ sơ thành công và hoàn vốn cho đến thời điểm hiện tại vẫn là 100%. Good afternoon, Mr. Kai. Thank you for your joining today. So we will have a discussion with our legal team about EB5 program.
Thank you.
Ms. Thanh.
Very nice to meet you, Mr. Kai. So we have three questions for you. The first question is, what is the risk when the client invests in EB5 personal standards, and how do you recommend them to manage those risks?
Okay. Well, it's important to remember, and thank you very much for those questions. It's critical to understand the EB5 investment and understand the risks that are involved overall, and how to manage, mitigate, or eliminate those risks, if at all possible. So let's approach that in the answering of the question. The risks are two primary risks in the EB5 investment, and those go back to the goals of the EB5 investor. Every EB5 investor has two primary goals. Number one is to get a permanent green card for themselves and their family. The second goal is to preserve and to protect that investment amount, so that at some point in the future they can see that money returned to them, get their money back. So those are the two primary risks. Number one is the primary risk of the green card. The secondary risk would be the risk of losing their EB5 capital. So let's look at those separately. Sometimes they're very close in order, but they're separated in the management of those risks. The risk of the job creation. Job creation must occur. Every investor must create at least 10 jobs as a result of their investment. Now, how the jobs are created are through economic activity. Now, there's a long, mathematic formula that the economists use, to derive what the job creation is as a result of that economic activity. But it's most important to know is to understand what is the cause of the jobs to be created. For CMB, that's spending, that's the expenditure of capital during the construction of the target process. So to create the jobs, or to ensure that the jobs are created, we have to ensure that sufficient funds are spent, and as that money is spent, the jobs are created. So part of our due diligence, part of our responsibility as a regional center, is to understand that there's sufficient money to create the jobs required and to finish the project where the funds will be utilized. So again, in those computations, if sufficient money is spent, the money is spent, then the jobs are created. Our role is to make sure that we identify those high quality projects and the developers who will utilize the EB5 money and the EB5 capital in the way that they should, to spend it to complete the projects, and as a result of that economic activity to create the jobs.
I see. So the second question that our investor have for you is, how many jobs that the new requirement of EB5 require the client to have, and what is the difference between old law and new law?
Thank you for that question. And I think that many of the investors are now learning that there are some differences, and you've got some pretty knowledgeable clients, and you've got a pretty knowledgeable team, because I know that they understand what the answers would be. Let me share that with those of you. The fact of the matter is the requirement for job creation, the number has not changed. It's still 10 jobs required for every investor as a result of their EB5 investment. That remains the same. What has changed, however, is only 90% of those jobs can come in the way we just talked about, in the indirect methodology where economic activity is utilized to determine the job creation as a result of economic activity. So those model jobs, only 90% can be induced and indirect jobs. That's a change. So only 9 out of 10 can be the indirect variety. That means at least one of the jobs has to come from the direct jobs. Now the direct jobs, typically when we think about direct jobs, it has that employer-employee relationship. But there are direct jobs that are identified during the economic analysis by the economists using those mathematic computations. Those jobs were never available unless the project lasted more than 2 years. So now the law allows for the use of direct jobs, requires the use of direct jobs, but it also allows for determining those direct jobs through the economic modeling methodology, but only a percentage of those jobs are available based upon how long the project is being constructed. So if it lasts 2 years for construction, then 100%. If it lasts less than 2 years during that construction period, then it's based pro rata, or a percentage of that 2 year requirement. So answer to that is it can be complicated. Be sure to get with these guys, and they can walk you through any of those questions, and they can put it on paper and show you the differences between the two. But the requirement, still 10 jobs.
Thank you for your answer. So the last questions from the legal side is, what are the selling points of your project that the client should trust in?
You know, that from a legal point or a point of just wanting to succeed for your family, I think is an important aspect. Many investors have the goals of getting a green card, but the purpose behind their goal is not for themselves typically, it's for their children. So the advantages to CMB when you're looking at a regional center and you're looking at projects that will help you achieve your goals of green card and help you achieve the goals for your family, then looking to what is the background of CMB? What's our history? Well, all of our projects have been approved by the USCS, that have been evaluated by the USCS 100% of the time without fail. Secondarily, CMB undertook audits of our projects dating back to 2014. We knew that an economic audit by an independent third party would show to those people around the world who maybe have never come to the United States that CMB is a trustworthy company, that every dollar in every transaction is in order according to generally accepted accounting principles. That independent third party also had as their scope of work an audit of the success of the projects and the partnerships. They did an evaluation of whether or not that the I-526 petitions or the I-829 petitions or the return of capital, they did an audit on those claims of success that CMB had. So, and in addition to that, one of the things that we have done is we've been transparent throughout our entire history. Our founder and CEO, Mr. Patrick Hogan, he's one of the most important, if not the most important figures in all of EB5. Many of the advances that Mr. Hogan had brought forth through CMB are now used industry-wide. Not only have we been an innovator, we've also been a very solid company that opens the books and allows the investors to see who we are and how we do business. It's no secret that CMB's been successful, and if you'd like to know, we can share that information with you, and certainly the team here would be delighted to share that information with you to understand. There's also something important. You know, who we do business is vitally important to a company. It's vitally important to your company to get it right. If you're working with an organization that is a high quality, that reflects upon who we are and how we do business. And I think that stands true here. And it also stands true in who we do business with in the United States. We have some of the highest quality developers. We have some of the highest quality organizations who utilize the EB5 funds. They service their debt and they return the capital so that the investors get their green card because the jobs are created. The borrowers who utilize those funds are high quality developers, and they pay the interest on the notes and they pay the money back. And the current developer that we've been working with is Hillwood Development Company. And again, we can share a lot more information about Hillwood, but it's more than a single answer. It's many answers, but when you bring it all together, it brings that single idea of how to be successful in one package, and that's what makes CMB different.
Thank you very much for your sincerely sharing, Mr. Khai. Dạ vâng, và nếu như anh chị nhà đầu tư mình đang quan tâm đến chương trình định cư EB5 thì đừng ngần ngại liên hệ ngay với đội ngũ chuyên viên tư vấn của Untitled Chapter để cập nhật những thông tin mới nhất liên quan đến chương trình nhé. Untitled Chapter, your children, be here.